Shooting at Superbowl parade leaves at least 22 shot and injured. Vybez Kartel case is now before the Privy Council, while police and gunmen trade bullets in St. James. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. Shots were fired at the end of the Chiefs' victory parade and rally in downtown Kansas City yesterday. One person is dead and as many as 20 others injured, 5 seriously, police said. 8 of them are children. An official said they do not believe the motive of the shooting was terrorism. The shots were fired west of Union Station near to where thousands had gathered for the event on Wednesday. A fire department official said that 3 of the victims were in a critical condition and 5 were seriously injured. 2 armed persons have now been taken into custody, police said. One video shows one of the alleged shooter being tackled by a man, and video shared on social media showed officers streaming into the bus station and victims being taken away in ambulances. The city was celebrating Sunday's Super Bowl win by the Kansas City Chiefs, and the team confirmed all players, coaches, and staff members and their families are safe. And since this year, there have already been 48 mass shootings in the United States. A mass shooting is when at least 3 persons have been shot. Over in Jamaica, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck has criticized the United States government over its travel advisory encouraging its citizens to stay away from Jamaica due to a rise in violence. Speaking in St. James on the weekend, Minister Chuck admitted that the country's image abroad has been tainted by rampant criminal activity in pockets across the country. But Mr. Chuck argued that the recent U.S. travel advisory could cause serious damage to the country's tourism brand, especially on the North Coast, which he said is dependent on tourists for the local economy to grow and to assist in reducing poverty across the communities. Minister Chuck maintained that the majority of the violence maintained in Jamaica are gang-related or domestic incidents and that tourists have nothing to worry about, he insisted. Jamaica welcomed more than 4 million tourists last year. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Transport has disclosed that there is no agreement between the Jamaica government and ride-hailing company Uber International to operate in Jamaica. Following Uber's introduction to the Jamaican market in 2021, the Transport Authority met with various stakeholders to address the implications of the company's presence in the country and establish the regulatory framework under which it falls. But the Transport Minister now says no agreement was established for Uber's operation, although an offer does exist and is being reviewed by the Transport Authority. The ministry says the law requires that every person operating a public passenger vehicle for a fee must first obtain a road license and the driver display a badge issued by the Transport Authority. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz says if any licensed PPV operator is found to have an agreement with Uber contrary to the terms and conditions of the license, that license will be revoked by the Transport Authority. Yesterday was day 1 of the 2-day hearing of arguments in the murder appeal of entertainer Adidja Vybez Kartel Palmer, Sean Storm Campbell, Kahiri Jones, and Andre Madsus St. John in the UK Privy Council. All 4 were convicted on March 13 of 2014 for the murder of Clive Lizard Williams. They were each handed a life sentence. The 5 law lords heard a submission from King's Counsel Hugh Southey, who is representing Jones and St. John, before breaking for lunch. Mr. Southey's submission took into account possible breaches of the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedom in relation to telecommunications event labeled JS2. He also argued that the jury convicted of attempting to pervert the course of justice Livingston Kane, who offered the rest of the jurors money to vote innocent, should have been dismissed when the matter was brought up during trial. And in the second half of the day's hearing, attorney for Vybez Kartel Isaac Buchanan also began making his submission to the law lords. Meanwhile, the security forces have seized another illegal firearm in St. Thomas following a joint police-military operation in Bull Bay early yesterday morning. A quantity of ammunition was also seized. And according to police report, at about 1 o'clock, members of the security forces went to a premises in Lane Gate in 11 Miles Bull Bay, where a party was in session. The team conducted a search of the venue, where approximately over 200 patrons were in attendance. And during the search, 1 Beretta .38 pistol with a magazine affixed containing 11.38 rounds were recovered inside a bucket, and no arrests have been made in connection with the find. A member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force is dead and another person in hospital following a motor vehicle collision early yesterday morning in St. Catherine. Reports are that about 1:15 a.m. the driver of a white Toyota Fielder collided with a black motorcycle driven by 29-year-old police constable Ronaldo Spence, who was traveling in the opposite direction in the vicinity of Island Farm in Old Harbor. Mr. Spence was rushed to hospital where he was pronounced dead minutes after 2 a.m. and the Old Harbor police said that they have launched a probe into the deadly crash. Meanwhile, police are probing the discovery of a dead man in the middle of the Guava Gap main road in Stony Hill in St. Andrew Tuesday afternoon. The man who was not identified was seen lying in the roadway by passing motorists who summoned the authorities. Reports indicate that about 1:30 p.m. passing motorists saw the now deceased unresponsive along the roadway and summoned the police. On arrival, police found the man lying face down in the middle of the road with what appeared to be gunshot wounds to the head. 4 spent casings were found on the scene. A man who is a person of interest in a shooting case is now being sought for a similar incident after he reportedly opened fire on 2 policemen Monday night. The man, identified by police as Nicholas Palmer, otherwise called Budman, is accused of firing several shots at the lawmen when they accosted him on Mall Road in Anchovy in St. James. Reports are that around 8:45 p.m., 2 policemen were on surveillance duty on the Mall Road main road in an unmarked service vehicle. Palmer, who the police said is being sought for questioning in a case of shooting with intent, was seen walking along the roadway in the opposite direction. Upon seeing Palmer, the cops immediately stopped the vehicle, alighted, and shouted, "Police, don't move." Palmer, the police allege, pulled a firearm from his waistband and opened gunfire at the lawman, who took cover and returned fire in his direction. But Palmer made his escape in the area, and it is not known if he was hit, but no member of the police party was injured. On to sports, Jamaica senior men's team central defender Damian Lowe was honored on Saturday at the 19th staging of the Camperdown Classic at the National Stadium. Lowe, a second-generation reggae boy, expresses gratitude for the recognition from his alma mater. According to the citation, during his time at Camperdown High, Lowe demonstrated exceptional dedication to football, never missing a game, and making significant contributions to every team from first to sixth form. Additionally, he participated in track and field events as a long jumper and served as a reserve for the 4x100 meters relay team. Lowe has represented Jamaica at all levels, amassing 60 caps for the Reggae Boys since his debut in 2016, and he has played professionally in Europe in Norway and Africa in Egypt, and spent the last 2 seasons in the US MLS, first with Miami and currently with Philadelphia Union. Meanwhile, the local Reggae Boys in camp wrapped up another weekly showing with a 2-0 win over Montego Bay United at Westport Park yesterday as coach Jaime Hal Grimson continued his talent identification campaign across the island. Harborview's Garrett Stewart and Cavaliers' Richard King were the goal scorers for the Reggae Boys, who were playing their second set of matches against Renevia Jamaica Premier League opponents. And don't forget that the best news and sports takes place on this station. If you ever missed the news, please go to YouTube, type in Jamerican Undiluted News, listen, like, share, and subscribe to keep it going. And that's news and sports on your favorite radio station. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.